Good evening, everyone. This is the January 26, 2022 meeting of the Auburn Conservation Commission. This meeting is being conducted remotely given the persistence of the Omicron variant of the COVID-19 virus. But I see that there are other members of the commission that are ready to participate remotely. And so I'm going to confirm that members of the commission are available to participate remotely. When I call your name, please answer in the affirmative. Tom Fallon.
Present.
Megan Langley.
I'm here.
Excellent. Catherine Nordberg.
Hello, present.
Excellent. Patrick Cunningham. I know you're there, Patrick.
Present.
All right. We do have a quorum, so I'm going to proceed. I know that our member, Michelle Carros, is away. And I think Allison Holmes indicated that she would not be available either. And then in addition to the commissioners, we have Building Commissioner Caleb Moody and Ginger Buto, our land use clerk. Anyway, this meeting is now being called to order at 7:01 p.m. This meeting is being conducted in person and mostly remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, which was extended on June 16 of 2021. For the public to join the meeting remotely by telephone, call 1-408-650-3123 and enter access code 942-845-549. Or the public can join via computer at gotomeeting.com/join/942-845-549. The remote access information has been posted on the town's website identifying how the public may join. And also note that this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. So for those members of the commission, employees, and members of the public who are participating this evening, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and please take care not to screen share your computer because anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. The materials for tonight's meeting are available on the town's website. Copies have been provided to the commissioners. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. So before I turn to the first item on the agenda, let me go over some ground rules for tonight's meeting. Most of you have heard these before. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After that person concludes their remarks, I will ask members of the commission if they have any comments. And if there is no comment, I will then ask if anyone in the public who may be participating remotely this evening have any comments. And then if for some reason members of the commission want to ask questions of our applicants, please do so through me. And then for any members of the public that want to speak tonight, I will acknowledge you and I will ask you for your name and address, and we'll go from there. So, having said that, the first item on tonight's agenda is a 7 p.m. public hearing on Mike Pham, a notice of intent to construct a driveway at 92 Tinker Hill Road. Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Tom. All right, thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
Second language. Sorry.
Okay. I'm thinking too, whenever I ask you to move or second motions, please identify yourself and then speak. I think it'll make it easier. So in this case, Tom has filed a motion to open and Megan seconded. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, it's a vote, and it's unanimous. Mr. Pham, I see that you're also joining us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Chairman.
So on Sunday, Ms. Langley and I did go to the property, and Mr. Pham had indicated where the driveway was staked out. Based on our observations, the stakes comply with what was shown on the plan. And again, this is just strictly for the driveway construction, nothing further. The house lot being, which is going to be built, or the house which is going to be built, is located several hundred feet towards the rear of the property, I believe on Upland, Mr. Pham, if I'm correct.
Yes, Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Pham, do you have anything else to add?
No, Chairman.
Okay, thank you, sir. Are there any comments from the commission? There being none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Tom Fallon, I make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
This is Megan. I second the motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, it's a vote, and it's unanimous. Okay, Mr. Pham, I believe we will be able to get to the order of conditions this evening. I want to thank you, and thanks for meeting us on Sunday.
Thank you, Board. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman, for coming on Sunday.
Sure. The next item on our agenda is the 7:05 public hearing. Graves Engineering, Inc., a notice of intent to improve parking at 35 Swanson Road here in Auburn. Is there a motion to open?
Tom Fallon, so moved.
Is there a second?
Pat Cunningham, I second.
All right, is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, it's a vote. Okay. Is there anyone here on behalf of Graves Engineering to make a presentation?
Hi. Yes, good evening. How are you doing? My name is Ron Mendez from Graves Engineering. Speaking on behalf of the project for parking and pavement improvements at the Bryn Mawr Elementary School.
Good evening, sir. Okay, so why don't you, if you would, give us a brief summary of your project?
Sure, of course. The project intends on constructing an additional parking lot on the easterly side of the property. And it also intends to repave or resurface the existing parking lot that is located around the school. The new parking lot is proposed to connect to the existing parking lot. And as part of the new parking lot, we have proposed some stormwater mitigation measures. The actual resurfacing project itself will, I guess, impact the buffer area as wetlands were identified on the southwesterly corner of the property. And then one more part of the project they needed is that and a playground area will be expanded. This is along the existing driveway area.
Mike, I'm sorry to interrupt. Could you mute microphone when it's between? I'm getting some feedback. It's a little hard to hear.
He can't hear me. Mr. Mendez, please proceed.
Sure, of course. So as such, the project itself is proposed to be separated into two phases. Phase one would be the resurfacing aspect of the project. Phase two would be the construction of the new parking lot, the expanded playground area, and the driveway that connects the parking lot to the existing paved area. And I guess that would pretty much be the scope of the project.
So, Mr. Mendez, how many square feet of impervious area are you adding to the project or to the property?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question, please, sir?
Sure. Are you increasing the amount of impervious area around the school with your project?
Yes, we would be indeed increasing the amount of impervious area.
Can you tell me by how much?
Yes, sir. 1 second, I do have that information here. The amount would be by about 1 second. By about 35,000 square feet, I believe.
Okay, that's rather substantial. Can you just summarize what steps you're taking to mitigate the effects of the increase in impervious area?
Sure, of course. For the new parking lot, that will more or less drain towards the easterly portion of the property. In that particular case, we have proposed a bioretention area to attenuate further runoff. Again, this would be pretty much the new impervious areas, being the new expanded playground area, the driveway, and the new parking lot. And that would pretty much be it in terms of, I guess, of the new the new impervious area will pretty much be directed towards the bioretention area, as you're showing on the screen right now. And the existing impervious area will pretty much remain the same, as it currently drains towards the southeasterly corner of the property.
When would you propose to begin construction?
I do not know the answer to that question, I guess, since I guess it really depends on the school department as to when they can finally proceed with this.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. My name is Joe Fahey, Facility Director for the Auburn.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. As it was just described, well, the question is, we'd like to begin the resurfacing project when school gets out this June, so June of 22. As you stated, this is going to be done in 2 phases. So the first phase is basically resurfacing. And as you can see in your map, I'm not on my computer, so excuse me. There's a small area of wetlands, as Ron just described, that we're going to be relocating our existing dumpsters over and providing fencing to keep us out of the wetland area. So if that answers your question.
Yeah, I think it did. And unfortunately, whenever we get projects during the winter, having the opportunity to make sidewalks can be challenging. And I think they're forecasting a storm this weekend. We don't know how much snow we're going to get, but with our luck, it'll be a lot. I think I would like to take a look. I understand that the wetland impacts are relatively minimal here, but I also understand that you are, increasing impervious area pretty substantially. So I think it would be useful to make a site walk. Of course, with the weather being the way it is, My hunch is that we won't be able to do a sidewalk for at least a few weeks, if not longer. Would that pose a problem to you in terms of your timetable for this project?
I don't believe so. I'll be more than happy to meet any your board or anybody on any given day, Saturday, Sunday, whatever is convenient for you people. So, but to answer your question, no, I don't think it's going to propose a problem, as we plan on putting this out to bid probably sometime in March, and hope to get our the bids back so we can award it and start the construction in June. Again, this is only phase one, phase A of this project. That's what we have funds for, only the resurfacing part of this project. So I can't stress enough, this is for the resurfacing part, not the new proposed parking lot.
Yeah, I understand that. My suggestion then, because we don't know what the weather's going to be like, would be to continue the public hearing in this matter, probably to our second meeting in February. Do you know what date that is, Ginger? So that would be February 23rd. Would that be agreeable to you?
Yes, no problem.
Okay, and then if you could leave us your contact information, if we get some good weather and we can actually see what we're trying to see, then we can schedule a site walk well before the February 23rd meeting.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll send it contact information tomorrow.
All right, thank you, appreciate it. So
You're welcome.
is there a motion to continue the public hearing for the Bryn Mawr project to February 23rd? Do we have anything on?
No, I didn't get
So
any
we-
new ones.
All right, so it would be February 23rd at 7 PM. May I have a motion, please?
Fallon, so moved.
Is there a second?
This is Catherine, and second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, it's a vote. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mendez, and thank you. We will, again, when we have an opportunity to make a site walk, we will be in touch and we will arrange to do so. So thank you for your attendance this evening.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Take care.
The next item on our agenda is the 710 public hearing, EPT Environmental Consultants, a notice of intent to construct a single-family house with utilities, driveway, and site grading at 54 Prospect Street. It is my understanding that Mr. Gravoski has requested that this matter be continued to our first meeting in February?
Correct.
Okay. Do we have anything scheduled? No? Okay. In that case, can I have a motion to continue the public hearing for 54 Prospect Street to February 9th at 7 PM?
This is Pat, so moved.
All right. Is there a second?
This is Catherine, I second that.
Okay. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, it's a vote. Okay. We have some other matters to attend to. I left a message for Arthur Allen, who is one of the principals at Ecotech, And this has to do with the request for certificates of compliance that we received for Whitman Bailey Drive. Again, as I mentioned before, one of the challenges of getting business done during the winter is the fact that snowfall impacts our ability to be able to look at projects. I had suggested to Mr. Allen that we defer action on the request for certificates of compliance. I would actually like to arrange for us to meet at the property when we can actually see the site conditions, and we can act on the certificates of, or requests for certificates of compliance at that time. And I would just add, I think that is also true for the request that we received for 23 Brook Street and also for 68 Burnett Street. Unless there is, and again, this is just my opinion. If you believe we can act on these requests, I'd be happy to hear from you.
Tom Fallon, I concur with the chair.
Okay. All right, moving forward. With respect to Washington Street, Lot 3, has there been any developments since our last meeting? I believe Mr. O'Connell was unable to attend, and I believe the person that was going to appear in his place had a scheduling conflict?
Correct. I emailed him and let him know about the meeting. I haven't heard from him, and he's not on there from the looks of it, correct?
No.
No. Okay.
So, in that case, we'll carry it over to our next meeting.
Yeah, I will reach out to Travis tomorrow.
Okay, I would appreciate that.
Yep.
And then, also, and this matter's been on our agenda for a while. A number of us had gone to 10 Rotary Road. There was a complaint from an abutter regarding the construction that was being done there. And I think we made observations that that what was being constructed did not comport with what had been submitted to our board. I understand that Ms. Uto had a conversation with Greg Woods at the Water Commission, and I was given a set of the Auburn Water District Reservoir regulations. I did not have a chance to review them. What I would like to do is to have a conversation with Mr. Woods, hopefully tomorrow, but certainly before our next meeting, to determine what course of action, if any, they intend to take, and then what we can do or what we should do to address the deviation from the plan that was submitted to the commission. So if that is agreeable to the commission, I would suggest that we just carry this over again to our meeting on February 9th. I will have a conversation with Mr. Woods and see if I can get more information so we can make an informed decision regarding any action to be taken. So what are your thoughts about that? Patrick, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think we should consult with the water district. They submitted their laws that we haven't exactly gone over in great detail, but can consult with them before we make any sort of decision and continuing it to February 9th.
Okay.
To have those conversations would be beneficial.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. Any other thoughts? Okay, so we have, we closed a public hearing for Mike Pham and 92 Tinker Hill Road. We also need to do an order of conditions for 63 Chestnut Street. So is there a motion regarding the issuance of an order of conditions for 63 Chestnut Street?
can we just briefly discuss 63 Chestnut Street? I just want to make sure I understood the gist of what came through on the emails that I received.
Sure, Megan, I'm happy to do that. So apparently there was a bobcat was brought to the property, and I think there was a concern from the abutter that they were actually they were starting work on the project before we had issued an order of conditions. I exchanged emails with Eilish at DPW, and she indicated that, in fact, the cat had been brought in there for the limited purpose of doing a deep hole test. And if you recall, at our last meeting, I had, I think, inquired about whether the applicant had done any testing to determine groundwater or the height of the water table in the area where they were planning to build. And from what I understand, when they did the deep hole test, they hit water about 3.5 feet below grade. So obviously, and that again suggests or supports the need for the applicant to bring in a lot of soil. They have to build up the lot in order to construct a foundation and actually build the two houses at 63 and 65 Chestnut. So that's what I think that was the gist of the emails. We thought there might have been some inappropriate activity, and as it turns out, the activity was directed towards determining the height of the water table on the property.
Got it. So just so I could totally understand the process, if they need to amend their plan now because of this finding, and we approve, we issue an order of conditions, what will be the next step that they have to take to amend the plan?
All right. Well, you raise a good point. You may recall that the applicant, I asked him specifically if he wanted to close the public hearing or continue it. He was, I think, pretty insistent on closing the public hearing, which is what we did. But we know from the presentation that they're bringing, is it over 1,000 feet of cubic feet of, 1,000 cubic yards of fill, right? So, I'm sorry?
I was just saying correct.
Okay.
On the amount of fill.
Yeah, so I did a little homework. I actually looked at the requirements for a land disturbance permit, and based on my review of the criteria, this would qualify, or the applicant would have to file for what is a major permit, given the amount of fill material that they are going to be trucking in to, basically build the two structures. And and I think actually it's interesting reading. If you go to the DPW link at the town website, under permits, it has the criteria for, and it distinguishes between minor permits and major permits. And I think if you do that, you will see that there are stormwater regulations that they have to comply with. There has to be a stormwater management plan, an erosion and sediment control plan, and also an operation and maintenance plan. So it's actually, the criteria are pretty strict. Actually, in some ways, probably stricter than what we would require, certainly in a normal order of conditions. So and I think I referred to this at our last meeting. I think in terms of the order of conditions, we can certainly make reference to, it's understood, I think it's self-evident that the applicant's going to have to file for a major land disturbance permit, and the applicant's going to have to comply with all of the criteria set forth in for that permit and to get approval for that permit. So having said that, does someone want to make a motion regarding the issuance of an order of conditions?
Tom
Mike,
Fowler?
I have a question.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right. If we're still discussing this, that's fine. Patrick, what's your question?
I was also looking over major land disturbance permit, and it does have stormwater management plan, erosion sediment controls. It has maintenance plans associated with all of that. If we reference this in our order of conditions, is there any way for us to, how do I even put this? You know, he has to comply with everything that's within the major land disturbance permit, but if we don't like how he's following their stormwater management plan or erosion sediment control plan, are we able to adjust our order of conditions, or do we just make a blanket statement that says follow your major land disturbance permit?
I think you raise a good point. I think what we could say is that we will insist on strict compliance with the criteria set forth or required for the issuance of a major land disturbance permit, and that any deviation or failure to comply with those requirements would be the basis for an enforcement action. What do you think about that?
I like that because, as you said before, it's a really strict set of rules. It's quite a lengthy process to obtain this permit. And just piggybacking off of what they say in stormwater rules and regs, I think would be beneficial. Sorry, the feedback is making me speak in a funny cadence. The stormwater management plan that'll be set forth, I think should be strictly followed. They're going to have a tough time with water that close to the surface at low water, but I think if in our order of conditions, if we make reference to the land disturbance permit, I think that would be a good thing.
Okay, is there any discussion about that?
This is Megan. I agree with that sentiment.
Thank you. Tom?
I agree.
Catherine?
Me as well. I think we should make reference to that in the order conditions.
Okay, very good. So are there any other issues that you would like to discuss before we vote on the issuance of the order of conditions? There being none, is there a motion?
Tom Fallon, I make a motion that we issue a standard order plus the following special conditions. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 5, number 8, number 9, and number 11. And in addition to those aforementioned conditions, I'd like to also add that we instruct the applicant that the major earth fill permit that he has to obtain is going to be subject to strict compliance, and any deviation from that will result in a cease and desist order from our board. And also, we would like to see a copy of their stormwater pollution prevention plan when and I'd also like to see the erosion control measures in place before they start doing any of the digging as well.
Okay, so what you're, aside from the special conditions you mentioned and requiring the applicant to strictly comply with the major land disturbance permit requirements, you also want to have the opportunity to be notified when they erect or put in the erosion control measures before they begin work. Is that fair?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
This is Catherine. I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Just to be clear, I do believe when I was reading the emails regarding the major earth disturbance permit, for the purposes of that permit, I believe both projects were considered 1, for the purposes of the earth disturbance, does that mean in order for any construction or any excavation to begin on either project, we'd have to see the erosion control measures?
To answer your question, 65 Chestnut was submitted to us some time ago, and I don't think at that point it was made particularly clear to us how much fill material was going to be brought in. I think the applicant, you raised a good question. I guess my response would be, I think DPW is treating, even though there are separate lots, I believe DPW is treating this as one project in terms of the amount of fill material that's being brought in. The fill material is going to be distributed over both lots, not just 63. Am I correct?
Through the chair, yeah, you are correct. I believe they're going to look at it as one land disturbance permit. And one of the major requirements of the land disturbance permit is that a pre-construction meeting take place between DPW, building, and fire. So at that point, they would be made aware that if the erosion control measures weren't already in place, they'd have to be put in place before any construction could start on either lot.
You think it'd be possible for us to be copied, at least on, not that we have to attend the meeting, but we'll be copied in on the outcome of that meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, good. So Megan, I think, to answer your question, I think to the extent that maybe our order of conditions for 65 didn't address this, I'm confident, having looked at the requirements for the land disturbance permit, that DPW will be able to enforce it more than adequately.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. Are there any other questions? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, it's a vote, it's unanimous. Okay, and then for 92 Tinker Hill Road, is there a motion?
Tom Fallon, I make a motion to a standard of the following special conditions. Numbers 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 9, and 11.
Okay. The motion is standard order plus 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 9, and 11. Is there a second?
This is Pat. I'll second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, it's a vote. Okay. And then do we have to, we didn't act or approve the meeting minutes for August 18th?
Not August 18th, no.
Okay. Hopefully you've had a chance to review the meeting minutes for August 18th.
I have one small correction on page 3, near the bottom third of the page. It refers to an Allison Nordberg.
Oh, yes, I see that.
Spelled her name wrong?
So do we know, well, was it Allison or was it Catherine?
That's one first name and one last name of two different people.
Oh, okay. All right, I will
Yeah.
have to.
I'm sure you don't remember, Allison's not here, but Catherine, if you can remember what you did on August 18th, call me impressed. What we'll do is we'll check the video, but thanks for drawing that to our attention. So until we can clarify that, we can't approve these meeting minutes, so we will carry those over to February 9th. Is there any other business? There being none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
All right, is there a second?
Megan, I second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, it's a vote. All right, everyone, thank you for your participation. We'll see you on February 9th.